Good seeing you, man.
It's nice seeing you as well. It's been like a while since we've been in the office, right? You've been hustling at home, doing the work from home setup. This is a new
Yes.
view in your office. I like it.
Yes. Thank you. Yeah. So this whole pandemic, everything going on. I mean, what last time we were together was in March
Yes.
at PAX East. So yeah, this whole thing changed everything. I built my own little creative space down here in my basement. So that way I can kind of do my thing down here, man. Have my own little space, and it's always evolving. So it's kind of a mess right now, but I just keep on changing around, and I got some ideas now.
All right. Well, you want to hit on those ideas, or you want me to introduce your past? I mean, like like I respect the side hustle. That's just my vibe. Like I get the 9 to 5, all that. It's everybody does it. Everybody talks about get the college degree, go get the 9 to 5, whatever. But the side hustle is where it's at. And like, you know, I was doing some social media stuff on the side that was taking a lot of effort, and I know you've suffered from that too. Is like, how do you balance it? But
It's
could
a lot.
you explain how you did it? Because like from my side, I lucked into it. It was accidental. How did you go from like, hey, I've got a camera in front of me to now like I can make money with it? Like teach me right
Dude,
now.
so it's crazy. So like you kind of just hit it though. So so first off, I mean, I was in college, and I was
Mhm.
actually, my degree is in network engineering administration. So during that
All right.
time,
That's no offense. That sounds kind of boring.
exactly. So it's like, let's switch it up. So yeah, and then just during college, I started up my own little page. I was tinkering with computers and all that good stuff. And I altered the color of my first computer, and I was like, let me post this on Instagram. And then all of a sudden it just, my page took off. And that's actually like what pushed me and drove me to just learn more as far as photography. Because in the beginning, I was like, I was a noob pretty much, and I'm using my cell phone. Nothing wrong with that. You pretty much got to use what you have in the beginning and work
Mhm.
your way up, and that's what I did. It's took me years to get where I'm at now. Um, so yeah, I started my own little Instagram page, started sharing builds, and then that led to a new camera. Then it led to, wow, how can I take this and scale it, like you said, as a side hustle,
Right.
which led to working with tech companies and doing builds for them. And then outside of just builds, I'm like, all right, well, these tech companies, obviously they're going to want some high quality assets to share on like their socials, just promotional stuff. So that's where I was like, I pushed myself to learn photography. And like you said, it's a grind.
Yeah.
It's, you have your 9 to 5, and then at 9 to 5, then there's family time, and then pretty much do the work after hours. I mean, as you know, I have kids and a family, so I got to
Right.
get that time in. So a lot of stuff to manage. So, but yeah, that's kind of like where my passion all started. It was really from PCs, but then I'm glad that scaled, and again it pushed me to learn more about photos and videos, because about 4 or 5 years ago I had no idea how to even edit a video or color grade, or what's my f-stop and all this good stuff. So it's like now it's just like, just it clicks.
Yeah, but like you didn't luck into it. Like I happened to need to go to a chiropractor for my back, and I saw his chiropractic ad, and I was like, no offense, it really could use some
Yeah,
work.
like, bro, you gotta let me
You're
take over.
targeting. Well, I mean, like I knew the basics of like YouTube ad, Facebook ad targeting, how to like set up an ad to look nice and to actually make me as the consumer of that ad actually want to click on it. And then I
Yeah.
realized like, hey, you're just not putting out the content that people want to click on. Let's just work on like, and I did it for free for 3 months. He got a little bit frustrated that I was like, after month one, no, I'm not going to take any money because I just didn't feel right, because again it was like I lucked into that like awkward position.
Yeah.
But like you've had a tattoo, actually that's really funny, you had a tattoo place, a tattoo removal place, they're definitely conspiring together, or you are, and then you've had the wings place. You still haven't hooked me up with those wings yet.
I'm sorry, I know it's
That's
it's
on
been
you.
it's been a while.
But like
I
how do you get those people? Like if somebody's like, hey, I'm gonna like take my camera out and I'm gonna walk into a store, how do you choose the store? Like all those different little things. How do you go through the process?
So for me in the beginning, like you said, as a new creator, content creator, whatever side hustle, whatever it is, for me, I did the same exact thing. I started to research my area, my little hometown here. I'm like, all right, what like restaurants or businesses would be interesting enough for me to like want to go in and do a video, because you kind of like you hear on YouTube and everything like that, like find your niche. So yeah, I wanted to go around, try different businesses and kind of see like what I like. So um all I did is just through Instagram, and this is on my like little photography page that I did on the side. I was like, hey, you're like right down the road from me. Let me come in. I'll shoot a couple of videos for free. And I did the same thing because I think in the beginning you're gonna have to do that legwork, and that 2 to 3 free videos I did in the beginning led to the tattoo, led to a red ribbon ceremony for a local barbershop. So I feel like kind of just getting your foot in the door in the beginning, um, you're gonna have to sacrifice a little bit regardless. And once you have some assets and build a portfolio, regardless if it's video or photo, then you start going to other clients and say, hey, listen, that shop down the road from you, I did a video, check this out. I have it right on my iPhone, save it under my favorites. I have it as client photo, I have client video, pop it right up. Like, wow, that's great. I'm like, so how about, I checked out your social, it's great. Your assets look good, but like imagine having a video that you can promote. And then, like you said, you can narrow down the back end to where you want to reach your target audience right here in this area. And that's where it just led, man. It's word of mouth. And it's been a cool experience. Because yeah, now I have like four to five clients under my belt. And just actually recently I had another friend from Instagram reach out, and they have a bunch of construction stuff they're looking to do. And she's
Oh,
like,
really?
hey, I'm going to pass. Yeah. She's like, I'm going to pass your information along. And I had a call with them today, which is pretty cool. So it's just how bad do you want it, really boils down to, that's
Absolutely.
that's one of the things I lived by. It's like, if you want something, you're going to have to sacrifice a little bit, but put the work in and it's going to reward you eventually.
Yeah, I definitely agree, and it's like it doesn't happen overnight. It took three
Oh,
months of, hey, like every day, working at our day job, and then driving all the way to where he was. Although he's just right down the road from me, that means I don't get to go home. I don't get to have dinner. I don't have to like hit my workout, and then stay with him, either talk just client relations, or because a lot of what I was doing wasn't just the social media. It was like kind of marketing consulting in a way. It was like, what do you think about doing X, Y, or Z activities? And, using some of the experience that I've had, with marketing, whereas
yeah.
his job, like he's a chiropractor by trade. That's what he does. He worries about the business from a business element, but not the marketing side. And so I was kind of coming in as a voice of reason in the marketing side. But I kind of wanted to touch on something that you've been hinting at for a while, your fitness routine. It's a new year. It's a new you.
Yes,
Are
yes.
you going to be a new you, Derek? Because I
I
want you to be a new
am.
you, but I
I
want the
am,
same
man.
new you.
I'm doing it like so I'm actually just finally recovering from an injury, and you're the first person I thought of. And just um I mean, it sucked that it happened. I feel like I'm again one of those things, like everything happens for a reason.
Yes.
And I kind of feel like this injury like really slowed me down, just like, granted it was like a fracture, but then it led to other stuff. And I'm like, it's time to, like, once I get through this, like I have to change everything. Because again, I have a family, I have kids. Not that I'm like in really, really bad health, but
Well, come
like
on, you're not in bad health at all. Compared,
I know. I
no,
mean, at
you're
PAX
doing great.
East, I beat you in a race, and so
I knew you were gonna say that. You did not beat me. It was
I
a
definitely
dead
beat
tie
you.
at best.
You're lucky nobody was rolling the camera because you got beat by old man.
All right, I'm gonna
um,
contest that to the day I die.
but yeah, I mean, my wife, she's like really into it. I mean, she's counting calories and counting all the stuff, and she's to the point like whatever she cooks, I eat, and it's been nothing but healthy. Like I haven't had any soda, haven't had any fast food. Really cut down on the sugar. That's my weak spot, is the sweet tooth. You saw
I
me
think
in the
we all have
office,
got a sweet
yeah.
tooth.
But yeah, I mean, she's been a huge help because I mean, she's really locked in and motivated.
Mhm.
just right now I can't exercise. So once I get the go ahead from my doctors, then it's going to go up from there. So yeah, I mean 2021, um, definitely putting health, mental health, just everything in check and just growing that way. Because then, if we're in check and we're healthy and good and clear minds, it's just going to lead to better creativity and just overall, just, I mean, better life. So
Yeah, are you still doing pour over coffee in the morning? Like, what's your morning coffee routine? Because I have a bad habit of big cup of coffee first thing in the morning. Like, I roll out of bed, drip coffee, and then I just start working.
that's where I'm at now. So my last Chemex cracked. So I was like, oh, let's go ahead and throw it in the dishwasher. I was lazy,
Hmm.
and then sure enough, it cracked. So yeah, right now we just have the basic pot, but I definitely have to get another Chemex because pour over is definitely the way to go if you have the time. But
Yeah.
again, morning times with kids and school and daycare and all that stuff, it's very convenient right now just to put some coffee grains in there and just hit the little button and
Yeah,
walk away from it.
it's a little too easy, but like, I
Yes.
mean, like I was digging the French press in college, and that was really great. But then like, it felt so wasteful. You put in like 4 or 5 scoops of coffee, and then like
Yep.
you're getting like 3 cups, and it just felt so wasteful.
Speaking of
Um,
that, man, you have to give me one of your pour overs or whatever.
oh well, the French press, it's
Yeah,
just
the French
unique.
press. Yes, I'm
See,
sorry.
see, see,
We
the
never
pour
got to have
over,
it.
the pour over takes out all the oils, and I think that's what's missing out of like a drip coffee, 100%. But also like even any kind of thing, any coffee that has a filter of any sort, you lose
Yeah.
all the oils, you lose all the richness that you
Hmm.
you still get. I mean, if you get good coffee bean, you're still getting the richness, but just like French
Yeah.
press just maintains it. And you
Yeah.
don't, in my opinion, like most coffees need sweeteners. I have a
Yeah.
sweet tooth. That's
Yeah.
my weakness.
I put a little bit
But
of
yeah,
cream in mine. So,
French press doesn't need anything. It's just black. But
and you
that's
see,
my personal take.
that's the first time I did Chemex. Like I would never ever drink coffee black. Like I had to have creamer or some type of sugar. And
Hmm.
when I did the pour over, and I think it really depends on the quality of the coffee beans too. So like that was the first time I just drank coffee just as coffee, nothing added to it. So yeah, I mean it's a different brand, it's a good brand. So I definitely have to get back to that because cut back on the sugar and all that stuff. Gotta get away from it.
Have you tried like monk's fruit or stevia?
I
Because you can buy
haven't.
the packets, or you can get extract and you can add it to your coffee. It's like thousands of times sweeter than coffee, or what am I
Wow.
saying? Thousands of times sweeter than regular sugar. And the reason why I think of it is because I only add it to coffee. Um,
Yeah.
but I had a little bottle of it, and I was bringing it to work, and I was dripping it into the work coffee, and that way my coffee habit turned into like a 10-calorie habit instead of you drip in some almond milk or whatever, and you add some sugar, and all of a sudden it's 100-calorie
Yeah.
coffee.
It kind of goes to like what was those powders that you introduced me to at work because you're like, dude, you drink a
Yes.
lot of coffee with creamer. Like you need to cut back. I'm like, I know.
Yeah.
What do I do, Cam? You're like, well, I have this for you,
I have the
Derek.
solution. Yeah, those were BCAAs, so that helps
Okay.
with a little bit of hydration, a little bit of flavor, but then it also had green coffee bean extract, so that had like 130 milligrams of caffeine, so like a stout cup of coffee, but nothing crazy,
Yeah.
nothing like a venti Starbucks whatever, which is like 400 milligrams of coffee. So
Who goes to
um,
Starbucks?
but like you could sip on it, which is nice, and it gives that
Yeah.
level steady state energy, which is important in like a job like you have, where it's you have to keep your focus up, and caffeine actually has a benefit in focus, and like your
Yeah.
creativity also, like you have to like no, sometimes my job feels like it's a grind, Excel spreadsheets and PowerPoints, and you've got a little bit of creativity you got to deal with, ad copy. Like the other night we were talking for a while. What do we write in the post? Well, here's an idea.
It's
Here's an idea. They're both good ideas, but which one do you choose? Because it actually
yeah.
matters, because that's your job.
And that's the crazy thing. Like when it comes to just social as a whole, like it's if you don't do it from the outside, it looks easy and you're like, oh, you
Oh,
just take a
definitely.
picture, you upload it, you put a caption, post, you're good to go. But it's like, no, like you have to have meaning behind it and you want some good content because anybody can just create, I guess I don't want to say regular content, but like you can tell the quality. So it's like you just said, I mean, we went back and forth and I went to 3 or 4 different lines and like, this is the one. So
Yes.
yeah, it's time consuming and just again, go with the clear mind and just try to, um, I guess, have a good asset along with a good description, hit your hashtags. That makes sense. Let it go.
Yeah. Well, speaking of, social media,
Yeah.
I don't have a social media following of any significance. Like I've got 250-ish subscribers on YouTube, something like 1,000 bots that follow me on Instagram, or that's what it feels like. And
Yeah.
there's like a ton of alternate social medias coming up. Like Instagram changed its terms of service. WhatsApp used to be a secure platform. Now they changed their terms of service. So a lot of people are drifting around. They feel like they don't trust any platform. You've mentioned how Instagram, you can't reach the same amount of people as you used to without paying.
Yeah.
Are these alternative platforms like viable for somebody who wants to, up and come? Not like TikTok. I know a lot of people talk about that, but assuming TikTok's out of the picture, is like a Gab, a Parlor, like I know they're political in some way, but like is that a way to get kind of in on the ground floor while these basically exploding?
And I
Or do you
guess it
just
just
not think so?
depends. I mean, yeah, it definitely has its benefits. I mean, if you want to, yeah, using TikTok as a perfect example, actually, because it's still fresh and everybody's on it now, especially when we started working from home. I mean, you had older um, couples making videos, like getting into what's like current. So, like, kind of taking a step back for me on Instagram years ago, I would post something and it would average anywhere from 2,000 to 3,000 likes. And then you can get anywhere from 50 to 100, 150 comments. In this day and age, it's not really doable, especially if you're a small creator,
Right.
because the organic reach, the algorithms, everything is always evolving and changing. And I mean, you've seen a lot of accounts or a lot of people kind of just fall off because they're just like, I can't do it. And they don't want to spend the money. And that's where TikTok comes into play right now because it's still fresh and it still has a really, really good organic reach. So here's an example, and I kind of experienced it myself. I had one, but I deleted it. I don't want to get caught up in TikTok. So I mean, for instance, my larger Instagram where I posted like a stream clip or whatever, and
Mhm.
that averaged 150 to 300 views, just say.
Okay.
And I created TikTok and I put the same clip on it, and that got anywhere from 1,000 to 2,000 views, which is a huge gap, but it just depends. But it just shows you the organic reach behind the platform, which I'm sure it'll probably go down a little bit, just like every other platform. Um, but yeah, it's just I think Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube and like Twitch, like those are like your main platforms. And if there's something new and upcoming, I don't see any harm going in and try just to at least experiment and try it out. Because as you know, you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket. I know it sounds like super old school, but like
No, but it's so true. It's
yeah,
a proverb or there's a word for it. It's there for a reason. It's been
yeah,
a saying for so long because it's true, right? But like the reason why I think of these alternative Twitters is because I've never liked Twitter. It's always felt like it was the trendy thing. You're on
yeah,
Twitter, you complain about your day, whatever, and it just never it never clicked with me. Because I'm a very visual person, and like just reading texts basically, it's essentially reading a text conversation in my mind. But
yeah,
then now I've found out that it's somewhat different. But like I've made a Gab. Um, and I posted it on my Instagram to follow it because I figured it's exploding. There's
yeah,
a sense of free speech, so kind of say what you want to say without kind of worrying about the political elements and the uh, saying something that might be controversial potentially. So like I follow like a carnivore diet group, and I follow like a bunch of different groups and stuff like that.
yeah.
But I figured that might be my delving into social media a little bit more aggressively. The only thing that I actually like post on is Instagram. I'm sure you've seen my Instagram. It's up and coming. I'm sure everyone should follow that. I really
uh,
put in a lot of effort in
it's
only posting like good photos, I think, recently, especially like my trip to Acadia.
yeah.
Had a few bangers from that trip, but
But I
it's just
mean,
tough.
kind of like you kind of hit a topic there though, but I feel like, and I'm guilty of this as well. You start kind of searching through, just again using Instagram, because that's where I've been heavily invested in myself.
Mhm.
And you just see these huge creators and influencers that just, it looks perfect timeline, and just, oh my god, I want mine to look like that. And you get caught in the mix of like, you're consuming more of that than you are actually creating. And that's, I think, a problem. And again, I've been guilty of that, because sometimes I'm like, man, I can't get to that level. And sure enough, you just put the work in, and you can definitely do it. And I know a lot of people say gear doesn't matter. It doesn't, to an extent, depending on what you're doing. But I think, I mean, cell phones now have gone so far, and DSLRs and mirrorless cameras.
Yes.
Um, so I think trying to, like, I mean, comparing yourself to others and to others' works, you gotta kind of take a step back and like, all right, they put a lot of work into it. They've been doing this for years. Granted, they might have been on Instagram for maybe a year and just blew up and took off, but then you didn't see the other 13 years behind it.
Right.
So
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that kind of touches upon like a few things I've been thinking about. One was like everybody wants to build their personal brand because like that's
yeah.
something that's perennial, right? If you start an Instagram page, like now you have a brand that then you can kind of turn it in any direction. Obviously,
Mhm.
there's difficulties with the platform and whatever, but then also you are competing with people that have like budgets. Like,
Yeah.
what's my budget? Well, my budget's my spending money that I can like pull out of my wallet to, oh, let's see if I can like buy a new lens maybe. Whereas they're like, hey, I need
Yep.
like I need a, you know, videographer number two to come in and help me with this. It's like, okay, so really we're working on a completely different stratosphere, except we're on the same platform. So it's like,
Yeah.
whereas it's like having, conventional media like TV, radio come into like a space like
Yeah.
podcasting and say like, all right, everybody has to compete on the same playing field. It's like, no, that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
um but yeah, so like I think definitely though there's still opportunities like Twitch, like you mentioned that TikTok, there's like opportunities, and I'm gonna delve into Gab and see the reach I can get there.
Yeah, and
um
this year myself, like, and that's the thing. Before, in the past, I had all my stuff invested into Instagram, and that's what kind of go back to that. Is like putting yourself only on one platform, regardless what the second or third one is. I still think you should somehow, you know, put your content out to other platforms, because again, the flick of a switch, the algorithm changes, and you can just get buried.
right.
And what are you going to do then? So, um, and that's the thing. I guess kind of going back to what I was saying earlier, the point I was trying to get to is like, try not to get in the mindset that, I'm only going to post this when I go on this trip and only post that. You still want to show your personality and your style. And it might not be the most crisp photo, but maybe not even a photo, maybe do it in your Instagram stories or something like that instead. So like, if you're trying to keep your grid looking good, um, matching your colors and themes and all that stuff, because that's what a lot of people do as well. So,
Yeah,
um,
have that
yeah, just
progression
push it
of
on.
seasons and whatever. Yeah, I was
Yeah.
actually gonna ask you. So like I've been going on a lot of hikes. I don't know. It's really cold out. 30 degrees was on Saturday, and I still managed I think 5 miles. But that's like the only opportunity that I find that I could like shoot, because
Yeah.
like going around town and stuff like that, it's not as interesting. I don't have any steel stacks near me. But like if I was if you and I were going to brainstorm right now, like what
Okay.
could I shoot to practice to get better? I mean, other than like shooting portraits of my girlfriend, like what do you think would be an opportunity so I can kind of hone my skills if I was trying to continue my grid, let's say?
So I think, depending on, like, so what would you say your style is? Like, do you like landscapes? Are you kind of dabbling into product photography? Like you said, you just did portraits of your girlfriend. So, what do you think like your niches, or like what's your favorite thing to shoot right now?
Oh, that's tough. I fell in love in Acadia shooting landscape. Like
Okay.
especially like the Bass Harbor Lighthouse.
Yeah.
That's my favorite shot. That's like my bucket shot, if you want to call it
Yeah.
that. Although it took no preparation or anything like that. It just, it
Yeah.
was a happy accident. But yeah, landscapes with a subject. The tough thing is like I find that you can find a beautiful landscape that your eye picks up as beautiful, but
Hmm.
I don't think a lens will pick up that same, even if you got the right focal length lens, if you set up the settings right, I don't think it would capture it in the same way your eye perceives it
Yeah.
as beautiful.
Well, I mean, I guess to add to that, then, so if, I mean, obviously you like to go hiking,
Mhm.
you, your dog, your girlfriend, whatever, and landscapes, but then if you need more content, just say for posting, I know you have a pocket knife, right? You have some EDC stuff that's becoming a trend. So I
Yeah.
think you did it already, but like, while you're out hiking, maybe not focus on, oh, I need this landscape. Get a shot of the knife in your pocket, get a shot of the knife on some wood and trails. Like, I don't know. I always try to think of creative ways outside of like my comfort zone. Like my thing, I always did landscapes as well. But I started dabbling more into like product photography. But then even like my favorite thing now, which I never thought I would like, is night photography. Like I love,
Speaking of which,
love
do you have them sitting
long
near you?
exposure. I don't.
Okay, so let's pretend. So I've got this one in
Okay.
front of me. It's a useful tool. I think non-EDC people, and you are going to agree with me in an instant, see this as a weapon, right? They see it as dangerous. But I
Yeah.
don't understand it because it's like a fork. It's like a kitchen knife. It's not dangerous unless you're wielding it. If you're
Yeah. If
using
you're
it, it's a tool. But I've
exactly.
always felt cagey about, not cagey, reticent to carry a knife on me, because the perception of it's a weapon. Whereas like when I hike, I will always have a knife on me because I don't want
Yeah.
to be the guy from it's between a rock and a hard place who has to take his like 1.5 inch knife and cut his hand off. Do you remember that story?
Yeah. Yeah. That
Like
too.
I'd
And then
rather
there's like,
have a hefty, like two
yeah.
and a half inch knife.
And I don't know, like there's that one video going viral, that guy, I think it was like in Utah or something, to where he was walking down a trail by himself, and then it was like known
Yes.
for mountain lions, and that lion like followed him
And he's
forever. I'm
shouting
just
at it
like,
and he jogs a
yeah,
little bit and it jogs up to him. Ooh.
like my heart's pumping just thinking about it. And when I was watching it for the first time, I'm like, oh man, this is like bad. I mean, definitely shouldn't go out by yourself. And that's why I haven't really hit any trails in this area, because I still don't know a lot of people. That's
Okay.
just like me and you. Once we can get out of this whole quarantine thing, and now we gotta go hit some trails together.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I think having it is good. And I mean, for me, unboxing stuff and using a knife, like it's not a weapon. I mean, if you see it as a weapon, and yeah, but self protection if you need it, when you're,
Oh,
especially when
for
you're going
sure.
hiking, you never know what's going to happen. It's better to be safe than sorry.
Yeah, I guess that was an aside, the whole weapon thing. But
Yeah.
all right, so I've got this in front of
No,
me. I wanted to touch on it just because it's like, why do you have it so close to you? But so I've got it in front of me. I want to take a picture. So I got a camera in front of me.
mine's
How do
behind
I
me, but
what do I do? What do I stage? What do I settings? All that. How do I make this boring 10, I think it's a 9.99 Amazon special mossy oak knife. How do I make that look pretty on Instagram?
man, it just depends. So, I mean, a lot of stuff comes into play. Your lighting situation. Kind of like my one of my recent posts. I did kind of the same thing. I text you immediately. I'm like, look, dude, I ordered these knives. Like,
Oh, yes, you
same
did.
thing. Like
Yes.
$10 and $15 knives. Nothing too expensive. Just to kind of mess around with something different as far as product photography. Um, and all I did is I just got like a piece of wood, and I put it in the wood so it's standing straight,
Okay.
darken everything down, put a kicker light on it or side light so that you get that nice lighting. Then I started off with like a blue light to kind of give it some flair or whatever, but then actually in post, I wasn't too crazy about it. So I actually like took the whole blue down. Um, but when it comes to settings and everything, I think it really depends on, again, your overall surroundings. So what lighting you have or anything like that, that's all really going to determine it. So like that shot that I took, I don't know if you want to throw up here or whatever when you do the
Which one?
video,
The
but
backpack shot or the one in the wood?
backpack or the wood.
Okay.
For instance, like the wood shot, say, I think that one I shot at ISO 200, at f4,
Okay.
and then my shutter speed was as I don't, I'd have to look at my camera. I don't know off the top of my
But are
head,
you running a lower
but
shutter speed or like a higher shutter speed? Because those are the settings that always you can get a similar looking shot in terms of the exposure and everything, but one looks beautiful and crispy, and the other one just looks like a quick, point and shoot shot.
Yeah, and that just depends on how long like you have your shutter open for. So ISO, the lower the number, the more light you have. And of course, when you go do night photography, then usually you crank that up, which that was my thought the whole time. But then I was in San Diego hanging out with my buddy Jesse Watson, and he's like, he taught me some tricks, and you can have a lower ISO of 100 to 200, but then keep your shutter open for maybe 3 minutes, 4 minutes, whatever it may be, depending on what you're shooting, and also your f-stop. So I know a lot of people get like, yeah, I want to shoot a f 1.4 or 2 or 1.8, which was me in the beginning because like, I want that good background. But then,
Absolutely.
yeah, and there's times for that, definitely. But then if you want like more detail, then having a higher aperture, like shooting at like an f4, f6, f8, is going to capture more detail, but then you got to make sure you have the lighting source while that sensor's staying open to get all that detail. So, um, I don't know. Like, for instance, you have a desk. I mean, you can just put the knife down on your desk and get your wallet, your keys, and just, it can be a simple post as like a top down, just here's my everyday carry, about to go hiking. This is what I'm taking with me. What do you take with you on your hiking trips and stuff like that? Just, oh, you can get creative as you want.
Watch out for that,
That's
guys. That's coming up.
all right. I want to see it.
I,
I want
I,
to see it.
I will post it. But yeah, thank you for the advice. I'm definitely gonna hit you up when I actually am gonna be taking that shot. Because I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna take a top down shot and we'll stage it. We'll see how it goes. But I want to switch. I know it's a complete gear switch.
No,
Gaming.
go ahead. I'm ready.
I
Gaming.
I played one game of Warzone between dinner and this call, and I have a question for you.
Did you get a dub?
No, no, I died right away. It was a
Ah,
joke.
all right. What's the
I'm so bad at
question?
gaming. No, this is a well. The question is, so Cyberpunk 2077 came out.
Hmm.
It looks beautiful. RTX on, DLSS cranked away. You're getting some solid FPS.
Yeah.
So now we've got beautiful games that have story modes that last tens of hours or hundreds of hours. And then we've got other games like EVE Online, which has like an economy, real dollars being spent and real dollars being lost, right?
Hmm.
There was that battle of
Yeah.
August or whatever it was, lost tens of thousands of real world dollars. What do you think the point is which that somebody can make their money online in the game because they're mining gold in asteroids in EVE Online. So they're able to then sell that gold in the game, pay for real world items like their DoorDash delivery, not sponsored, and their car payment and their electrical bill to power their computer and whatever. That they're living at their desk. Everything's online, but not like Twitch, not like they're streaming, like they're actually making their money online. How far away do you think we are?
I don't think we're far at all, man. We're already seeing it now. I mean, you have kids playing like Fortnite tournaments and winning millions of dollars. And um, I think the time is now, man. It's crazy to see how far it's gone. I know back in the day it was Counter-Strike. You would actually unlock like custom knives and just you can sell those on the market for like real money, and it is
Right.
crazy. I think they took that down. I never really been into Counter-Strike, but I know that that was a huge game back in the day, and still a lot of people play it. But yeah, it's crazy. Like you can get these in-game items that are very rare that have a price, and some people are willing to pay like top dollar for it. It's crazy. So it's um, I don't know if we want to compare it to like Bitcoin, but it's like it's one of those things to where it's like Bitcoin, you can invest money. This you can invest your time. You can unlock rare stuff, and you have those people out in this world that'll pay ridiculous money for it just to have it. It's crazy.
Interesting, because like I was thinking that we're not too far away, and I talked to somebody else who was like, their thought was there has to be a point at which there's a social element where you can't go to a bar and talk to somebody and meet up with somebody. And my thought is, we're at that point. Like, I'm having a Zoom call with you. I didn't drive to
Yeah.
your house, set up some cameras, and have a chit chat with you and record it. We're doing a Zoom call. We're
Yep.
pretty close to VR being to the point where, hey, I get, delivery alcohol to my house and I drink it while I'm having a VR glasses on, and I go to the nightclub in Cyberpunk 2077 and chat up some like women and whatever. And like, you order it at the bar, and like, I don't know, maybe you just sip, like maybe there's no ordering, but like, hey, it's a social gathering and you're all talking with people, and then you leave and you go do something else, but it's all in your house.
It's
I feel like we're right at the cusp. There's just like, I don't think it's a technology thing. I think it's a social thing.
It is, especially now with us being trapped in a house like more than ever. Um, that's why you see the rise in people. I mean, web cameras were sold out like instantly.
That was a
PC
wild one.
components,
Yeah.
yeah, just PC components were selling out instantly because everybody's trapped home. And I think now people are like, wow, gaming isn't as bad as I thought it was. And then you see some people that are actually like making a career and making a living out of it. Like there's a lot of money that could be made if you do it right and build an audience and everything. It's wild. And like you said, I mean, look at us, we get together, three or four of us, we get on Call of Duty. And I know it's kind of like a different game, but look at the time we kind of invest into that, to where you have some people who will play like World of Warcraft or Grand Theft Auto, and it's a fake reality. Like, wow, I have my Lamborghini that I always wanted in this video game. I mean, like you can
Right.
squat up with your friends, and it's crazy. I mean, there a lot of stuff's going virtual. Like you said, you can do it right from your home. You don't have to leave. You don't have to do anything. And then hitting up the grocery topic, I barely go to stores anymore. I have everything delivered or I have it store pickup, and that's just that way. It can. Right now, I really don't want to go into stores anyway. But it's just
I totally
everything's
understand.
just becoming easier. Everything can be done. Yeah, people that do shopping for you. It's things are changing. I'm telling you, like you just said, I think we're at that point. We're at that cusp of like seeing it change. And it's crazy. I mean, just to think of how much more we can advance from 5 to 10 years of where we're at right now. It's crazy.
Definitely. The one thing I do miss, and this is gonna be selfish for me, but I miss being able to like actually go places and meet random people. Like when you and I went to PAX East, I'm gonna remember that forever. Not
Yeah,
because it was like some revolutionary thing to go to a gaming convention. Yes, it was unique for me because I've never been to a gaming convention per se, but it was also like, for what was it, 4 days, you know, constantly
stop.
stressed about who wants to talk to me about this thing or that thing, or um like, have I eaten or drank anything today? Like, I'm getting hoarse because I'm trying to keep the energies up, but also like these people are, they're just interesting people and they're talking about their passions. And that's, I think that we're going to get to a point where that can be transcribed to an online interaction, but
Yep.
it's not quite there yet. And I really want to get back to a point where we can go to an event like together, like
You
you're
know,
my
like
you're my one like work friend that I'm like tight with, and I really want to go back and like experience that again. It was wild, and it was just seeing a culture that I've never seen before.
it's totally different, man. Especially at these gaming expos like that. Especially PAX East, it's a large one, and it's funny. That was my very first expo or event I went to. So like, I remember when I first started and I went there. There was like, oh, dude, just wait, just wait. I'm like, oh, stop, I'm okay. They kind of seeing you do the same thing I did my
Yep.
first time. You're just like, wow. It's like, yeah, you start at 9 o'clock and then oh my god, it's 5, 6 o'clock. I didn't even eat, I didn't drink. Your lips are getting chapped. It's crazy.
I didn't expect that. Horse
It
and chapped lips were two things that I didn't expect. Also, my feet hurt. You warned me
Yeah,
about that. I was like, Psh, he doesn't know what he's talking about. I wore sneakers the
that's
whole time. I thought I
that's
was so worried that I would look back like underdressed or whatever, and I was like, totally
and
worth
that's why I was
it.
like, you know, the $800 charge to get the foam padding under the carpet is worth every penny, especially when you're doing that for 4 days
Yes.
nonstop on your feet, saying the same thing over and over and over, pretty much, like, because a lot of people are asking kind of the same general questions. But they kind of going back, man. I mean, it was a good experience, man. Just we got to go in our puke green Kia Soul together while
That
you're
was that was our supercar for the week.
yes,
It wasn't
yes.
puke green. It was more like a kiwi green. I'm gonna market that. It's kiwi
All
green.
right. Kiwi green. We'll go with that. But still, both of us cruising in that, doing the floss 3 o'clock in the morning on Main Street in Boston.
Well, I think see that's where
Oh,
like
it was
how can you
fun.
transcribe that kind of energy into a video game? You can't.
It's crazy.
Like you
No,
have to
that's
it, which I don't know. Well, we'll see. I think with COVID and everything, and working from home, I like it. I really do. I like being able to, you know, have my evening free immediately. I sign off at, 5:30, 6 o'clock, 6:30, 7 o'clock, depending on what night it is.
yeah, depending on what
Um,
day it is or what we have going
and
on.
then so I sign off, but then I'm immediately at like a home point, literally my home, and I can go to the gym, I can go to, groceries shopping, I can, go on a run if I want to, but I don't have to waste this stupid 45-minute drive. And the reason why I say that is because it's like the workday really isn't 8:30 to 5:30, which is my official hours. Well, it's actually plus 45 minutes on each side, plus the time to,
Yep,
get ready in the morning because I have to shower because like it's not that I showered in the evening because I went to the gym, but like I gotta smell nice, look nice, whatever. And it's like, well, I've just now wasted so much of my life just to do this thing that I can very effectively do at home in the
exactly.
i-
Especially,
in my sweatpants.
yeah, and that's say that, especially with, like, for marketing and stuff. Um, I don't miss the commute at all. Especially for me, I'm like over an hour away, and then some nights when there's wrecks, I don't get home till 11 o'clock at night, leaving the office at 6. It's crazy, but um, yeah, I like working from home as well. Just, I guess the only thing is, like, for our sakes, getting products, because again, I'm social media, so like I have to have the product to get some photos and be creative. I guess that's like I want to say the hard part, but like you can't just say, hey, let me order one of everything out of inventory. So you gotta
Right.
get creative with it.
Absolutely.
So,
Yeah, and then the other thing is something like what we're doing right now is something that we could do when I turn to my left in my cubicle and I, chat with you, or,
yeah,
I stand up and I can talk to a different, colleague, um, across like the divider. But like you can't do that with Zoom or Teams or, Outlook. Is like you have to put out the effort of like, let's schedule a time. And it feels so formal and antiseptic and
yes,
structured.
agree.
And I think there's going to be some losses. There's going to be some wins, of course. Like, there's none of those like wasted meetings where you're sitting in a meeting for 5 extra minutes and you have to
Yeah,
sit there because you didn't bring your laptop, because it's not one of those meetings where you can bring your laptop to the meeting and you just sit there and now you've waited. Well, here you can just, I'm going to work on something else, and then, oh, you signed in. Okay, cool. Now let's chit
yep,
chat about whatever it is. Um,
yeah.
but like, are you getting settled in for another few months, you think? I know we have a tentative date, but I think we're looking at, late into the spring.
I agree. Yeah, I don't think we're going to be back within the next 3 to 4 months. I mean, especially with the rise of cases, people getting vaccinated, the limitation of vaccines right now. I know they're like they're trying to push it out as much as possible, but then you always have the people that are afraid to get it, and you just. I still think we have some time behind us, and we're lucky enough to have a boss that's just like health first, which is great because it's
Absolutely. Yeah, we saw that
I
right when this all started.
yeah, and it just, especially coming from someone like really just who were in office oriented to now, going to stay at home. It's awesome. So that's what I like. I'm glad I feel safe because I know we're not going to make a call just to force ourselves to get back into the office. Because
Right.
yeah, I'm the same way, man. I miss walking by and talking to people, and like you just said, we have to have a formal call. Not that we can't just Zoom someone or Team someone, but still, it's like everyone's schedules are different. It's wild. Versus me and you walking past each other in the hallway, like, hey man, what's going on? You
Yeah,
know,
you can. I
keep
could
a
read your
dub.
body language. Oh,
Yeah,
he's clearly, in a rush. I'm not going to, bring up a social thing. Or, oh, I can sense in the way you're walking or the way that you looked up when you saw me. Oh, I can, casually start a conversation and take up 3 to 5 minutes of your time.
yeah.
Whereas on Teams, I have to think, okay, I'm gonna go over and I'm gonna click on Derek. Okay, it says he's green, but is it that he stepped away because he has to deal with a personal thing, or maybe he's like maybe you're printing something out or whatever work related that you're not even at your computer, or maybe you're tied up with something and you're super focused. I could read that by looking over your shoulder and saying, oh, he's super focused, I don't want to bother him. But like
Yeah.
if I do that on a Zoom call or a Teams call, all of a sudden now you're like, oh, okay, let me answer that. And yeah, how can I help you? And it's like, I don't know. I wonder if there's a way that technology could solve that problem, almost like a virtual cubicle. I've heard of like virtual offices where it's like
Yeah.
what's the game with the green diamond above their head? Sims, that's the one. I
Okay.
sound super like boomer when I like said the
You sound older than me, dude.
yeah, but no, they had a
I
virtual
know.
Sims office. So they built out their full office building like architecturally, and then they would like log in and then they'd be able to wander and be at a cubicle, and they'd make their emoji character, I think through software, it was mirroring their activities. So somebody they
Oh,
could have them walk over and be able to observe if they were in a bit like a hyper focused busy state or in a more casual, hey, I can, be sociable.
I'm trying to think. One of my
It
buddies,
was some big
what
real estate company.
they have that, but I don't quote me on this, but I'm almost positive it was Nike. One of my friends has a friend that like worked there, and it's kind of like the same concept where nobody has a set desk, set cubicle. You go wherever you want to go, but like I don't want to say it's like a tracking device. I don't know terminology, but like you just look at this and you can see where everybody's
I know
at,
exactly what you're
see
talking
if
about.
they're
Yeah.
busy. I think it was one of my buddies that said Nike did it. I was like, that's pretty cool. And it's kind of the same concept.
Yeah, you basically have a laptop and you dock into any of the spots, and by docking
Yeah.
in, either through software or through like a sign in, it notifies your colleagues. So like I would know
Yeah.
you're at 1C, and I can look at that on a map and I can know, oh, 1C is over there, or like, JE24 or whatever, like that station. And then I don't have to like be like, all right, Derek, hey, where are you? Oh, I'm near the coffee machine. Well, which one of the coffee machines?
The
Yeah.
furthest one away.
Yeah, gotta hide from you.
No.
But yeah, so I gotta ask, you got some extra free time. When are we gonna hang out
Okay.
and shoot? And when are you gonna coach me on how to shoot better knife photos?
Dude, I'm ready. Next weekend, weekend after, my leg's better now, so I think I can do that. Maybe not 10 to 15 mile hike, but I can get like that 5 to 7.
Yeah, we can make something work.
So yeah, I'm ready for whenever, man. It's night photography is fun. Especially the first one I took, and I'm just like, wow, I can do this. And then quick story is one of my best time lapses. I never really done it. It's actually I came from San Diego, red eyed it from San Diego to Newark Airport, and then I noticed I had like an hour before the sun comes up. And of course, there at the airport, I went to the very top of the parking garage, and you had the whole New York City skyline. And I'm like so glad I waited. If I didn't go on this trip, I would never ever thought of it. Like, oh, let me get the sunrise. It was amazing, and just knowing how to dial in your settings, everything like that. I'm just like, I got home like, oh my god, and then like stuff like that just gets you excited and want to create more and do
Is that a
more.
time lapse video or is it a
Yeah,
photo?
yeah, no, it's I have a photo, but then yeah, on my YouTube channel, I have the time lapse. It's actually I think 4 to 5 different spots throughout San Diego, but on my way back, I put that as the first one because it's like it looks so good. It's the orange, the blues, just everything coming up from the sun. And it's just, everyone's like, oh, where'd you get this? I'm like, just a parking garage. I just waited out for another hour and it's worth it.
Yeah, we definitely should coordinate something. I think that your coaching and my just pure raw talent will
You
come
got it, man.
results with some great shots. But I think it's running late. We do have a work day tomorrow, and I'm sure your kids are gonna love to have tired Derek
I'm
in
up
the
around,
morning.
I got some stuff to do after this anyway. So
All right. So plug your social, and we'll call it a night.
yeah, so you can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and on YouTube. I'm Derek Ellis. Um, give me a follow, subscribe, smash that like button. No,
All right, Derek.
I know, stop. I know. It's a
No,
coffee
no, no.
kicking in.
All right. Well, Derek, thanks
I was
so much
joking.
for joining me, and we're gonna cut it here. All right.
All right. Thanks for having me, man. Take care.
Absolutely. Thanks.